Here's what you need to look for in the Scada system. It's a pretty comprehensive list here. It needs to be IIoT ready. It needs to bridge the gap between OT and IT. It needs to be based on open standards, work with multiple operating systems, must be web deployable on premises or the cloud, made for mobile as well as desktop, remote monitoring and process control capabilities, edge of network capabilities, scalability, modern cybersecurity, and unlimited licensing. We're going to just take a look at each of these features one by one. And I think the best way to do this is have you kick us off, Kevin, with the first feature.
Sure, absolutely. So the first thing we're looking at here, and the first one in that list we were just looking at, is a system that's IIoT ready. So why is this important? Really, it's because you can access way more data way faster than before with IIoT. It just makes everything so much more accessible, which helps with all sorts of things inside the business. When IIoT is correctly implemented, it brings about great improvements in connectivity, efficiency, scalability, and in time savings and cost savings. So how can you determine if your Scada system really is IIoT ready? You know, a lot of them say IIoT in different places or advertise modern technologies, but here's some important questions to ask to really determine that. Does it work with IIoT standards like MQTT and Sparkplug? Can it connect intelligent devices to infrastructure? Can it connect to the cloud, or does it partially run in the cloud? And can it handle large-scale data collection? Jeremiah, I know you have some experience when it comes to IIoT-ready Scada systems. Do you have any remarks that you'd like to add about this?
Yeah, sure. I think having an IIoT-capable system is super critical in order for businesses to compete in this day and age. We're really at the infancy of leveraging analytics, AI, and automation on real-time data. And these types of architectures facilitate this. A lot of what I see out there in OT assets, Scada consumes really a fraction of the data that's there, but businesses are demanding more and more. IoT-ready systems are poised to enable that growth in a way that doesn't bring your OT asset to a halt.
All right, thanks, Jeremiah.
I think what we can look at also is this next one is so critical, particularly as organizations have grown, because there's historically there's been sort of IT and OT, and do we look at digital transformation from IT down or OT up? And we feel very strongly that there needs to be an OT IT alignment. So bridging the gap between OT and IT is one of the roles of a Scada system. It's important because OT and IT are perceived as separate domains often, with different languages and different ways of doing things. However, when there's an alignment between OT and IT, it leads to major benefits like, lowering your costs, lowering your risk, standardization across your enterprise, and bottom line, it just means better decision making. So in order to successfully implement IIoT, OT, and IT need to identify technologies that they can both work with. Scada should help facilitate that. So what do you ask? Try and determine that. Here's some questions that you can ask that help you decide if the Scada system can really bridge the OT-IT gap. Can it connect to any PLC? Can it connect to databases? Can it connect to ERP systems? And can it make data accessible to all levels of an organization, to anybody who needs it when they need it? These are really important components to determine if you're going to be able to bridge the OT-IT gap and have one enterprise that takes you all the way from sensor to cloud, if you will, for your operation.
So the next thing to look at is whether the Scada system is based on open standards. It's important because open standards promote interoperability, which makes integration, scalability, and collaboration much easier. And open standards are vendor neutral. I'm sure everyone on this call has at some point been subject to vendor lock-in, where you have to use something from a specific vendor's ecosystem. You can't mix and match pieces of software or systems or hardware. And open standards really address that. So it also helps poise you for being able to move into the future in a way that you can adapt to new technologies and open technologies. You can adapt to new hardware. You can adapt to really using the best of breed instead of being locked into a specific vendor's ecosystem that they have that's available there. So questions to ask about the Scada system when it comes to open standards. Does it support open technologies? You know, some examples are SQL, Python, MQTT or OPC UA, SOAP, REST, HTML5, CSS, and the list goes on. Or is it built on closed proprietary technologies? Does it require you to use a specific vendor's technology in order to accomplish what you're looking to accomplish? Will it lock you into having certain vendors as part of that system overall? And how difficult will it be to maintain it or to expand the system?
So let's take a look also at the next on the list of sort of must-haves, if you will, in evaluating a SCADA system. You actually need a SCADA system that works with multiple operating systems. And that's why that's important, because it really provides you long-term cost savings. It gives you more options for building your system, and it prevents vendor lock, and it causes fewer support headaches. All of things is really important when you got a SCADA system that becomes the backbone to your entire organization. Some of the questions you could ask when you're evaluating a SCADA system, you should ask, can it work with many or all major operating systems? or only one? If it works with only one operating system, that vendor stops supporting the version you're using. How will that affect your operations? Really, bottom line, I guess, what's going to cost you in time and money to get back up and on track?